Globalization 4.0 is not just a catchphrase or an intellectual debate. In fact, actions in the right directions speak louder than words, argued Ilham Aliyev, who is the president of the Republic of Azerbaijan. He shared with me some of the fresh case studies from his country on the sideline of the World Economic Forum in an exclusive interview.
Wedged between Turkey to the east, Iran to the south, and Russia to the north, Azerbaijan is a country that punches above its weight. Gaining independence from the Soviet Union in 1991, the country is an oil and gas giant. Under the leadership of Ilham Aliyev and his father Heydar Aliyev before him, Azerbaijan has used diplomacy and natural resources to become one of the wealthiest post-Soviet states. The Caucasian country is currently constructing gas pipelines that will connect Russia to Europe. Azerbaijan excels in using its geographic position to befriend others in a challenging region.
Mr. President, what a pleasure to see you in Davos.
Thank you very much. Very glad to see you.
Oil and gas development in your country, that has really managed to take up the economy to a certain degree. That, of course, is with your vision. But the question is it going to be sustainable, sir?
You are right. Oil and gas is a driver of our economy, and we achieved a big progress mainly because of our successful policy of attracting major energy companies to invest in Azerbaijan. But now, of course, our main objective is to diversify the economy and reduce dependence on oil and gas. It will not be easy because we are now in an active phase of development of our oil and gas reserves, but at the same time we invested during the last years largely in infrastructure. We attracted a lot of investments, almost $250 billion in the last 15 years. And our doing business of World Bank's rating is number 25. Yeah. Therefore, I think it will be not difficult to attract investors to invest in sectors other than oil and gas.
Infrastructure is one of the topics you care a lot. Mr. President, I understand infrastructure is an important potential in your country. For example, you've been working on several of the important infrastructure projects, both at home and also between your country, Azerbaijan, and some of the others in the Caspian area and even beyond. But the question is, short-term, long-term, how to balance it?
You are absolutely right. We invested in Azerbaijan and beyond our borders. First, of course, the priority was to create the modern infrastructure which will generate a lot of potential for investors, for business circles, and will create convenience for our people. Therefore, we invested largely into power generation, and from a country which imported electric energy became the country which started to export, and we earn a lot of money from that. We increased the level of gasification inside the country up to 95%, which is, I think, the very good result. We invested largely in the road construction, and according to Davos World Economic Forum assessment, our roads are number 34 in the world with respect to its quality. Also, a lot was done on the issues related to water, sanitation, and irrigation. At the same time, we invested in our infrastructure, which will allow us to attract more cargoes and create a hub. Railroads, 6 international airports, a new port of Alat, which is capable of transporting from 15 up to 25 million tons of cargo, new shipyard, which will allow us to build all types of ships and increase the cargo transportation. And at the same time, connections with countries of Central Asia and Europe. In 2017, we inaugurated Baku-Tbilisi-Kars Railroad, which was a missing part between Azerbaijan and Europe, and thus Europe and Asia. And now this road is already functioning, and we see the growth of cargoes. Infrastructure allows us to attract a lot of cargoes and to create a new important link between many countries.
Well, Mr. President, as you said, your country is in a geographically very strategic place. You also got important neighbors, China, Russia, just to mention a few. Meanwhile, Europe, a very big potential for you as well. At the same time, you see a very different the United States these days over the past few years. So, Mr. President, this is a time when everybody is thinking, where am I going to be there on the map? What kinds of growth idea would I subscribe to? How much should I look inward? How much should I open the door? And it's also about how much interest should I share with the others? How much I just put it into my pocket? These are questions, put it bluntly. But as a leader, you probably need to think about it every day. So what do you make of this, the qualities of political leadership these days? And some of the strategic questions your generation of leaders probably have to figure out now.
I think every leader should follow the situation and always be attentive to what is happening. We don't know what will happen in 1 year or 2 years in the world, but as far as today's geopolitical environment is concerned, I think we found our place in this environment, and this place is satisfactory for us. From point of view of international policy, our main target is to provide such a foreign policy and pursue such a foreign policy which will have positive reflection inside the country, which will reduce all types of risks. And I think we achieve that because people in Azerbaijan live in peace and the country is stable. What will be in the future, we don't know. But the more time
Are you afraid of the uncertainty, or are you excited about the uncertainty? Because at the same time, it could mean challenges and opportunities all at the same time.
From point of view of how foreign policy and environment influences us, I think what we have now is enough. You always can think about something better. You always can think that international situation can be more advantageous for you, but you need to work hard in order to do it, because if you sit and wait, it will never happen. What I think now that my concern is so that international situation around us is not getting worse. That's my concern. If it is better, if we can do it better, contribute to that, great. But if not, better stay as we are today, because today's international environment for Azerbaijan, I think, is the most appropriate and the best. So it allows us to concentrate on internal issues, to concentrate on internal problems which we still have, and to resolve these problems in a peaceful environment. When you have difficulties with different countries, misunderstandings, clashes, confrontation, it distracts your attention. It does not allow you to concentrate on your domestic issues. For me as a president, the most important is day-to-day life of the people, our economy, our industry, our social problems. Our foreign policy is a protector for that, is a guarantor for that. So far it was successful, but what will happen in the future will show.
China-Azerbaijan ties have been strong and fruitful, especially since President Aliyev's state visit in 2015. During his visit, the two sides signed a memorandum of understanding on the Silk Road economic belt. But Azerbaijan's track record in multilateral projects is even more impressive. In 2015, Azerbaijan became a founding member of the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank. Later, it achieved the status of a dialogue partner of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. Azerbaijan's role in China's Belt and Road Initiative is elevated due to its strategic position between Europe and Asia. Whether it is by rail, ship, or pipeline, Azerbaijan is emerging as a regional transport and logistics center, primed to fast-track the Belt and Road Initiative in the future.
Mr. President, the Chinese President Xi Jinping, at the end of last year, wrote to you a letter of congratulations on your birthday.
Yes.
I'm sure you received it safe and sound.
Yes, of course.
So it certainly shows the time and also the efforts when both of you, together with other partners, are working together. For example, on different projects, such as Belt and Road Initiative. There are different interpretations and understandings of BRI. It's an initiative raised originally by China, but it's not China's initiative, but rather a platform. So how do you, as the president of Azerbaijan, see what this platform, as you are building it yourself as well, will be able to achieve for you?
You're right. President Xi Jinping was very kind to send me a birthday letter, and also I congratulate him always on his birthday. And I remember my very successful official visit to China a couple of years ago, and communications with President. We signed, by the way, many important documents which create a good framework for our cooperation. And of course, during my visit and during other meetings, we discussed One Belt, One Road initiative, and Azerbaijan fully supports it. And we want to do everything that Azerbaijan is a very active member of this initiative. Mm-hmm. From our point of view, we extended the transportation network towards Europe, building Baku-Tbilisi-Kars railroad. We connected the line, but there are a lot of directions of cargoes which go from China to European destinations. Therefore, of course, we want to be more involved in this process. For that, of course, we work with our partners in Central Asia. Mm-hmm. We work with our partners in Georgia, in Turkey, in Europe. And of course, our main objective is to be able to receive cargoes from China and to be able to transport them. Inside Azerbaijan, everything is ready. On the Caspian, Azerbaijan now has the biggest fleet in the Caspian, and it's mainly Azerbaijani tankers and other cargo vessels which transport the goods from east to west and backwards. And of course, we would like to see more companies from China to work in Azerbaijan, to invest in our country, to find new opportunities. Therefore, One Belt, One Road for us is really a very important project which we strongly support, and also we contributed to creation the missing part of it.
What do you mean the missing part of it?
I mean a railroad from Baku to Turkey.
I see.
Because we didn't have it. And the cargoes which were coming from Asia were going through Azerbaijan to Georgian seaports on Black Sea. Building the railroad to Turkey, this railroad goes now to Mediterranean port also, and also directly to Europe by railroad. Therefore, it will be more efficient, it will be quicker from point of view of timetable, and it will be more beneficial.
There are a lot of skepticism in the air whenever a new idea is coming up, particularly from emerging and developing countries. What is the right balance to not only sophisticatedly understand it, debate about it, and implement it, but at the same time be encouraging and also inspiring in figuring out more ways of making our world better? That's also an interesting balance, isn't it? So-called skepticism with the spirit of creation and creativity. How do you see that, particularly as the president coming from a developing country?
Well, it of course depends on initiatives, depends on the projects which become the subject of skepticism. From our point of view, I can tell you that all the projects which Azerbaijan initiated or joined, we completed them. We also had skepticism around us when we started to think about how to build a pipeline from Azerbaijan to Mediterranean. There were a lot of speculations, analysis, articles saying that this is not possible. It will never happen. But it happened. And today we have
now
oil.
in retrospect,
Yeah.
how do you see those comments?
Well, some of them, I can tell you, some of them were just because of lack of information, lack of understanding about our decisiveness to implement this project. It seemed to be impossible. At the time we started it, it was in the beginning of 2000. Azerbaijan was not as strong as it is today. We were largely dependent at that time on foreign financial support. Biggest part of those skepticism and speculations was based on unfair competition attempts. I would put it in this diplomatic way. Therefore, we did not respond. We said, we need to respond with what we will do. We need to respond with result. And when the pipeline from Baku to Ceyhan in Mediterranean was built, it's almost 2,000 kilometers. Everybody saw that. We destroyed that skepticism. The same was with even bigger project, Southern Gas Corridor, which is a project of $40 billion involving 7 countries, almost a dozen of international banks, many companies, and we initiated that project. So a lot of skepticism about resource base, about how it's going to be built, technical difficulty, financial difficulty, etc. We said, we started, we will do it, and now it's almost close to completion. Therefore, we need to respond to skepticism not with words, but with action, with what we've done. And we can be proud. And now those who were skeptical about this project, we don't hear their voices any longer.
I see you have a lot of wisdom, Mr. President, in that regard,
Thank
to
you.
answer it with actions.
Yes.
And the can-do spirit as well.
Yes, yes.
Mr. President, I understand China and your country has been working together on bilateral trade. But still, right now, only 25th, that's the place where China is in terms of trade with Azerbaijan. I know both you and also the Chinese leadership are keen on developing better ties, particularly economic and trade relations. Mr. President, how can we make this area more active? Make people-to-people exchanges really serve the better lives of the people, and make this place a sparkling area of the region? That's a big question mark, I think you and many other leaders of the same region.
Yes, you are right, and we're working on that. With respect to people-to-people contacts, relatively recently, we eliminated the visa restrictions for Chinese citizens. So now everybody who wants to visit Azerbaijan can get an electronic visa, sitting at his computer at home within maximum 3 days, sometimes even within hours. So that was done as a sign of our partnership and in order to create better opportunities for Chinese citizens to visit us. In order to enhance our trade, we sent several expert missions to different regions of China. And already we have good results. We have opened already wine houses of Azerbaijan in China. One in Shanghai and another one is in other city. We participate regularly at the main exhibitions which are taking place in China with our agricultural products. So we want to demonstrate to Chinese people what we have and to have a very important, attractive, a big market for our goods. At the same time, our doors are open for Chinese businessmen. We want, as I said, to see them more as investors, as traders, as contractors. I think this area which we need to work more. We have, of course, Chinese companies who work in Azerbaijan, also in energy sector, but I think not as much as we could have seen, especially in contracting projects and especially as traders. So that I think we need to do jointly, and for us this is one of the main priorities. We just relatively recently started to create trade representations And one of the first Azerbaijani trade representation was created in China. So all that demonstrates our willingness to build strong partnership relations in trade, in people-to-people context, and this automatically will have a positive impact on all the other spheres of our life.
The world is in big change, as we mentioned earlier. What do you consider as the most important quality of leadership, global leadership, country leadership? I see a lot of pragmatism in you. I see a lot of hard-working spirit in you. But what do you consider, Mr. President, is the important quality?
I think the most important, several issues, but first what comes to my mind is to plan for a long-term development strategy and not to be limited only in your actions with your political agenda. To look at how you want to see and how your people want to see your country in 20 years, in 30 years, and what you should do today in order to reach that goal. In the beginning, we were talking about infrastructure as a long term. You're absolutely right. When we started it, it was a long time ago, but today it already starts to generate. First, this is, I think, the most important. Second, most important is never to lie to the people, never to say something which is not true, and never give promises which you will not be able to implement. As far as I'm concerned, I try and I think I managed to obey these criteria and also answer your critics with what you can deliver. Because if you answer everybody who talks about you, who writes about you, who criticizes or attacks you, insults you, you will spend your time and you will diminish yourself to that level. But answer with actions. And that's what we've achieved. I think we answered to all those who were skeptical, who were deliberately skeptical, who tried to undermine our efforts, who tried to put obstacles in front of you. We demonstrate, and everybody now who comes to Baku and see our beautiful capital and visits the region, they see the result. So I think these two important issues for the leader, which are important for the countries and for the leader itself. If he or she wants the people to believe, to trust him, to support him, these two must be always be on the agenda of the leaders.
Actions speaks louder than words, as they say. Mr. President, what a pleasure seeing you. All the best here in Davos.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.